Hey, yo, what up, everybody? Bala Maupower here live, broadcasting from the Black Table in the beautiful Gimui country. You are joining Powercast, man. My second episode here, live on air streaming for you guys. I call it the Golden Mic from the North. I hope everybody is having a great time. Before I like to start, I'd like to pay respect and acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land, where I'm broadcasting from and streaming from. This is the beautiful Gimui country. For those who don't know what that is, tropical far north Cairns. Such a beautiful place. It's been so great. And I'm just super excited to be able to deliver the second streaming episode. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and who's been supporting the streaming so far. I got some beautiful things in store for you tonight. Some deadly guests, some brothers that I know from the industry, all the way from over the west and from here in far north Queensland. But before I do get into that, I just want to let people know, if you're tuning in for the first time, what Powercast is. Powercast is a platform that I created where we have conversations and chat with inspirational and empowering people, just to share knowledge and life experiences. Chop it up here for a Friday evening and see if we can drop some value and share some gems. The line's open to ask questions, so you can see in the live feed if you're there. Do drop questions along this, because the conversation makes it more enriching. Now, my intention is simple. It's to bring value in the conversation. Look at the positive outlooks. I mean, no matter what this current situation is, share the knowledge and our truths. And of course, have fun. So, welcome to the Black Table. Once again, Powercast. And I'm going to introduce my first guest here with me, all the way from over Noah country, my brother Phil Walley-Stack. And I want to say, brother, welcome to the program.
Hey, bro, how you doing?
Oh, good, bro. Oh, good, man. And you?
Yeah, not too bad. This camera makes my nose look big.
Too good, man. Hey, thank you, brother, for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know you just finished like a film shoot or something. We'll get into that. And you're joining in from WA, bro. What's the time difference there? I think it's a couple hours behind, huh?
Yeah, what's the time there first?
7:35, bro.
Oh, yeah, 2 hours, yeah.
2 hours.
2 hours, yeah.
My brother, as we do here, just so we can give people a good a context of who you are and where you come from, brother, can you introduce yourself, your mob, what part of the country you from, man, and your people, your country?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Phil Walley-Stack. I'm a Noongar man, all the way from the southwest of WA over here. So Noongar country pretty much takes up the bottom southwest of Australia. So I know we got one of the biggest language groups here in Western Australia. So I'm very proud and got connections right through to most of Noongar country. So we're pretty much related all over the place, which means we've got to travel a long way to find a woman.
Hey, all black fellas related there most of the time.
Well, that's it. And if you're not related, then you just claim.
That's what happens. True, my brother. Hey, look, first of all, getting you on the program, one is because I've been inspired by your journey. You've done some incredible things, not only here in this country, but internationally as well. And you're the first person who brought me over to WA, man, to perform at your concert on Survival Day. And that was my first performance. Still haven't been back, but we're working on that.
Well, no one been back.
Sorry?
No one been back. Our borders are...
Yeah. Hey, bro.
But you know what? Having you over was something that I really wanted to do, because I didn't intend to take over that concert in there, but a few people didn't put in for the tender and stuff. So the city of Perth rang me up and asked if I could help them out that year. And from that, what I wanted to do with that concert is make it more of involving a lot of people from different cultures, different backgrounds and that, but also the main thing was to show off the diversity of Indigenous people in Australia. And, to have you over and to represent, Torres Strait Island and we've got a lot of Torres Strait Islander people here.
Yeah.
And having you over, it was great to see, so many of our local Torres Strait Islander people that live here come out and enjoy the festival, the concert, and Survival Day, and standing as one, as all black fellas say. It was always a pleasure having you over, man.
No, deadly, brother. That was a great event, and it was amazing to see all the families come out, and especially all the Torres Strait Islander community over there. If they're tuning in, big shout out all the way from far north, and it's just great because we have a long history of families going over there, and building community over there and being welcomed in to your country, brother. So it was an honor, and it was a great experience. You're a great host. You're a great host. I appreciate that.
We should let your audience know what happened the day you were flying back. And I was having a barbecue at my place, and I was wondering why you guys was taking so long.
Wow, I can't remember what happened.
You got stuck in the elevator.
Oh, yeah, we did too. Oh my God, that's why I had my little nephew there as well. Yeah. Tano, if you're watching, you remember it so well because he was freaking out.
And the Uber driver was waiting for you guys. The Uber driver was waiting, and the Uber driver kept calling me, "Oh, where's your customers?" And we couldn't get through because you're stuck in the elevator with no reception.
True. Hey, typical backfire. When we were stuck there, automatically we went to some thoughts about spirits and stuff. One of the brothers were freaking out there. I'm like, hey, calm down now, calm down. I remember that, but it was a great trip. I'm looking forward to seeing it once the borders open up again to get back over that way.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, you have an awesome history, brother. I went through your resume and seen some of the things you've done. First of all, I want to start it out, in the creative arts industry. What was your first passion, with performing? What did you start out in music? What was your disciplines?
It was, you could say music. I was always fascinated with the didgeridoo.
Yeah.
The yidaki. And growing up around people like Uncle Ernie Dingo and Uncle Richard Wally, people like that, who was, and still are, leading performers and entertainers in Australia here. But having them, around all the time and seeing them perform, and that, it really opened my eyes up. And, I wanted to play the didgeridoo and travel the world, and I didn't have a didge, so I used to take Mum's vacuum cleaner apart and play that when we used to have the pipe ones, And she always knew when I played it too, because I always had this big dirt ring around my lips. But and Mary G reckons that Mum turned the vacuum cleaner on. That's how I got big lips. but being brought up like that, and then we get chucked on stage like a lot of us mob. We've been chucked on stage when we was little kids, and performing in front of crowds and Wadula, white fellas and that, and showing off our culture. And it's sort of, that's, I think as black fellas, we are born entertainers, we're born performers because it's part of who we are. To be able to tell our stories through song and dance is what we do, and the only difference today is we get paid for it.
Very true. Very true.
Sometimes we get paid.
That's a mission by itself. So the key message takeaway is there: please pay artists, especially now. We need it the most. But how present was culture, and how important was it to be aligned, like in your upbringing, and how is it played? How is it present in your life today?
Look, I was very fortunate that a lot of my old people I spent time with, and walked on country. It wasn't just about the music, the dancing, the paintings and stuff. What my old fellas taught me was, it was still stuck in my head that they said the two main things about culture, because I was always hungry for culture. I was always hungry for it and desperate for it. And what they ended up teaching me is that the two main things with culture is to look after your family and your home. And once you do that, everything else will fall in place, you know. And that's something that I've prided myself on over the last few years, you know, is making sure that my home and my family are looked after. And so we and everything else it's amazing how you put things out in the universe, you know, and you trust in your culture and you trust in your upbringing, you know, and never forget that upbringing and because them fellas, they've been there and they done it, you know, and they learnt from other mob and we take that on and then we push a little further. So, you know, the culture side of me is what drives me a lot all the time, you know, and always being respectful. And, you know, if you're going places or things like that, always trust your feelings, you know, because that's them old spirits talking to you not to go there, or you're right to go this way or whatever, you know. So it's always with us, culture, you know. Through our house, we just got artwork all over the place so that my kids know where they come from, their background, and they learn, you know, their dances and values of our culture.
Yes, it's very important, especially now, right? Like, you know, it's always been important. I don't know if what your experiences was like, but I felt that growing up and, you know, leaving the islands, I had to always justify why my culture is important to me. I mean, do you still get that today? I think I had even a very light conversation about that today, actually. So, you know, it's quite interesting. Your perspectives on that. I mean, I know it's really hard for young people today, caught in this world, to be able to find that balance, but always trying to defend and justify. Have you seen that experience?
Yeah, we got to. You know, there's a lot of people that always ask me about Aboriginal, not so much just Dunga, but about Aboriginal in general.
Yes.
And they ask me some of the simplest questions, and I don't acknowledge it. I turn around and I say to them, you know what? If you don't know these days, there's something wrong. I said, get on Google and Google it.
Very true.
You got to go out of your own way to learn. You know, as Aboriginal people or Torres Strait Islander people, you know, I always say we live in three worlds. You know, we live in the white fella world, we live in the Black Australia world, and we live in a spiritual world. So, and we learn to adapt. You know, I think Indigenous people right across the world can adapt to anything. You know, whatever's true. Yeah.
Absolutely. I will also invite on another guest, the brother boy JPoint. Now, you know, brother from up here in this way. So he's here on the line right now. I want to include him into this discussion. You know, I thought I was going to bring you on individually, but I thought, you know what, it's Friday, knockoff time. Let's all have a yarn. So joining us here on the iron as well at the Powercast, we got brother JPoint. What's up, my brother?
Thank you for having me.
Hey, man.
Thank you. Extend the welcome to you as well, just like I did with Brother Phil. Thank you for taking our time on your Friday to, you know, grace us here at Powercast. This is going to be an amazing journey, amazing stories that we're going to be sharing, and I believe you two know each other. We've all intertwined within the industry, so big SO. And we were just talking about everything pretty much. We're talking about you, bro, before you got here. So now
we were running you down something wicked.
Run down.
It's like Murray time. We say 7:30, Murray complain. My brother, while you're there, can you give us a background on you, brother? Your mob, where you're from, where you're located, and where you're streaming from, bro?
Yeah, well, I'm out of Venezuela. This is my people here in the rainforest where it meets the reef. It's beautiful. So I've been here. Well, I grew up here until I was about 18. Then I started venturing out and getting out there, getting into like DJing and then eventually production and music and just branching out. But yeah, all my early years, like Innisfail means a lot to me. North Queensland means the world to me. So yeah, I'm back here right now because of what's going on, but that's all good. It's a beautiful place to be.
Too good, my brother. Sorry, I just had a question here. Paul Preston, don't start now. Hey, this lad.
No.
Shout out, bro. But thank you, brother. So For everybody tuning in right now, please do drop questions, ask these brothers anything, and we're going to really dive deep into it. There's a few things I want to unpack. The last couple of days has been quite interesting. I've had some conversations with young artists and some people, and like one of the questions I was asking you, Brother Phil, and what this topic is about is belief in self. And I've seen the career that both of you has embarked on, and all your moves and things that you've done to be able to make it to where you are independently and adapting to the current times. And we want to dive into that. I'll start off with, first of all, both of you have something in common, and it's been a common thread on my platforms here that I seem to attract people who's been to Whopper. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. But
Hungry Jacks.
Sorry?
Hungry Jacks.
Hungry Jacks. Whopper. Now, the beginnings, man. We will start with the foundations of getting into the game and being able to pursue. I mean, making that decision. I can go back to the childhood, but I want to start from when was that moment that you decided that you wanted to be a performer to represent your art or what you do. I'll start with Phil. Oh, Jacob, we'll start with you. Just because you came on Maritime, we'll start with you, bro.
I guess performing's always been there. I from an early age, drama class, and I had a household full of music. I have church music leaders in my family. I have an uncle who did an album. It's a country gospel album a long time ago, my Uncle Tim. So growing up, being around music and hearing songwriting and performance, and in the church every weekend, song leaders doing songs, music rehearsal, and performing at church. Music was always there from a young age, but I think developing my own sense of, style, music that I liked, which was that old 80s kind of R&B and then hip hop and things like that, just really absolutely love it. So the music stuff, because of DJing, when I was around 18, up at the Nest nightclub in Cairns.
Yeah.
No longer exists, but it exists in the minds and hearts of many, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Brother Bad's there, teaching me the ropes, DJing, and then from there, I always wanted to be a DJ, I guess, when I was young, because all the older brothers doing it and the blends and creating new sounds through doing blends, it just had a magic about it. The ability to rock a crowd and to move them with the music, that really spoke to me. So I was like, I really want to do that. I want to have that ability to move the crowd. And you can, when you start off DJing, you can also not move the crowd and then play the wrong song, and then they all just want to leave. So that can be a bit of a thing. But once you get going and you find your style, and there's certain songs that you can always fall back on. You develop your own thing, and then having the crowd there, I don't want to say in the palm of your hand, but having the love of the crowd, there all night on the dance floor, not an empty space. That spoke to me. That really just it rocked me. In such a way, it showed me how much influence you can, as an artist, have over people.
Absolutely.
And that just spoke. It just spoke. And I think it was there and then it cemented what I was going to do, but how I was going to impact and what I was going to do as a performer, I hadn't figured out properly, but I knew there and then how much, it's magic. It is. It's just magic.
It's that connection that just happens. And Phil, and you, bro?
I was always told I was a show off growing up, so I had one place to go, and this is it. But it's the same thing as JPoint. My grandfather, he's a preacher, he's a pastor, and it's the same thing. No matter where we went, if we was hanging, if as a little fellow, if our family went around to a birthday party and everyone's drinking, the guitar gets pulled out and everyone starts singing, you know. Then on Sunday, you go to church with your grandparents and everyone's singing there. So
Yeah.
it's sort of just no matter what, you know. I've had plenty of jobs, you know. I was sales rep for a lot of places and car salesman, and I'm a house painter by trade, you know. Straight out of high school, I did that, and then I just had so many jobs where I wasn't happy, but that's when I met my wife, and then, you know, we started our own house painting business, and I wasn't happy. You know, I was drinking every weekend, which went from Wednesday to about Sunday, just because I didn't like my life. You know, I always say that I always drank because I was trying to escape my reality, sort of thing. You know, and then one day I just said to my wife, I said, look, give me 12 months to put all my energy into performing. And if I can't do it, I'll paint houses for the rest of my life. And I haven't touched a brush since.
Wow. That's a set of belief in self right there, man. Just being able to back up yourself. And I know, JPoint, you share a similar story, which you shared with me about that as well. And I'll let you tell your story, brother, of that moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like I had a similar thing. I was kind of wayward, like having skill and knowing what I can do, but never really concentrating it in one direction. Kind of being, you know, when you have ability and you can kind of just get by, and you're not really focusing it. That's where I was, and I think partying was the same thing. No sense of real self. I did, but I didn't. Then it comes with other things where everyone around me is doing it, so I felt like I had to be a part of it. But then I realized when I went to Karratha that what I really wanted was to get back home, but doing the things that I loved, and that was film, that's music, that's performance, that's bringing the magic. So pretty much I'd go to work doing 4 days on, 4 days off at Rio. My soul was dying, just getting absolutely crushed. And I got to be on Red Dog Part 2. And I met a young man named Callan who was at App Theatre with Rick. And he told me about App Theatre and Whopper. And I made the decision there and then because it had already come to a place where I was getting money, like ridiculous money. But the trade-off was just, I just couldn't live with it anymore. And I said to myself, look, I know that's the way to go. Nothing's set in stone. So I made the decision. Came time to re-sign the contract. X amount more, thousands of dollars was going to be added. I said, I don't want that. I'm going to go be an actor. I'm going to Whopper. I hadn't heard back yet. I left Whopper, and then a month later, I was on my way back to North Queensland for Christmas, and I got the call from Rick, and he said, "You're in." And I was just like, you know, there was that part of me that was like, I knew that I was going to get it. I knew I had enough. There's the self belief. I know I'll be there, but I didn't get confirmation yet. So Mario was like, you know, there was the belief was there, but there was that small part of, oh, what am I doing? But then getting that call, because I was in Sydney, I was at the airport in Sydney, and I get this call, and I'm halfway there, and it's just that validation. It's just that, you know, this is it. You're doing the right things. You're picking the right path. The yes doesn't come straight away, but if you just believe in the yes, it'll come. And that's that whole spiritual. That's, you know, setting up goals and just knocking them down, but just having full out belief. Like to walk away from the money, it wasn't a problem at all. Like not at all. It was just I knew it was going to happen, but then getting that once you hear it, that just makes it that next level. Like okay, you're definitely it's all going. It's all going into place. So that was pretty much that. It was after that my whole life's changed. It is just changed. Even my outlook on outlook on things. When I make a decision to do something, I know in my heart of hearts that it's going to happen, but I still have to work hard to get to it. But I'll move, you know, fire and ice. I'll move heaven and hell. I'll move everything to get to that point. But yeah, self belief, yeah, cup runneth over.
Yeah.
And that's the thin thread, like that. Sorry, Phil, you wanted to say something, bro?
Oh no, I'll just 100%. What JPoint is saying is backing yourself and taking that risk, you know. And it's you know where you want to go, and then because like with Whopper, when I got into Whopper, Robert Dan and Tara Garrell was our dance instructors, you know. And they was teaching us dance routines that we ended up performing that. But as part of that, then I ended up finding out about NASDA over in Sydney, and I never set out to be a dancer. And then they said, oh, they're paying people for flights and the accommodations paid, and you're in Sydney for 2 weeks. I'd never been to Sydney before, so I said, stuff it, I'm going for a free trip to Sydney, you know. Yeah. I was single at the time, so I went over there. And
I think we made a few trips like that. Yeah.
Over those 2 weeks, you know, we got taught all the different dance styles, even Torres Strait Island dances, you know. We had old people come down from there and teach us TI dance, and we had people from right up East Arnhem Land and come down and teach us dances and Central Desert, and I thought, wow, because this is the culture side. And they started teaching us ballet and tap and jazz and all this, and I thought, oh, I'm just here for a holiday, you know. But then it's that thing like JPoint was saying when Rick rang you know, to get into Whopper. About a month after, I forgot all about NASDA, and a letter comes in the mail and says, oh, you've been accepted into NASDA. And I went, I'm moving to Sydney. And then it just like that. And then, you know, I didn't plan to go to a dance school or anything like that, but that's from taking that it's not a risk. It's getting outside your comfort zone, you know, by going to places like Whopper. And then Whopper opened up my eyes to the whole performing industry in Australia, where I ended up finding out about NASDA. And then going into NASDA, and then, you know, the people that we had there, and the lecturers and the teachers and the friends that we made friends for life. But they opened my eyes to a whole nother style of performing, you know, that's on an international level, and how you mix jazz, tap, ballet into traditional dance, you know, and then you do the same with the music and things like that. So that it's grabbing those opportunities, but you've got to make those opportunities aware, you know, and bring those opportunities alive by never giving up and getting out of your own way, you know. Like we're saying, was drinking and things like that all the time. JPoint was saying, you know, we slip down into things. But then it's stepping up and I stopped blaming a lot of other people, because I was blaming other people for my faults. And then once I realized and took that responsibility and saying, no, I'm the problem here. And then I started distancing myself from people who want to drink and party and all that, you know, which is fine. That's their thing, but that's not where I wanted to go, you know. So I started surrounding myself with people who are in the industry, who have made it, and not just listen to their advice, but live by their advice, you know, and take that on. So you got to have that niche. You got to be that little bit different from everyone else, you know. Otherwise, we'll all be singing the same songs.
Very true, brother. And you know, I'm just looking at your resume and the things you've done. You've traveled overseas with your music and your performances, like, you know, U.S., Middle East, Indonesia, Malaysia. I mean, we can dive into that. But while we're on the point of there, you know, taking that step, that self-belief, because it's this thing that I don't know, it's undescribable. I know for myself, it's a feeling, you know, a point where you just make a decision. And, you know, at one point I was working 4 or 5 jobs just to support being able to take a crew to do a tour. And right now in this current environment, but over the last year maybe, I've experienced in both business and in the creative arts world, people coming up to me and asking about, how do you know that point? Like, you know, they have it's that uncertainty and that questioning yourself. It's always the challenge to get over. Some people can just do it. I mean, it takes a lot to be able to believe in yourself. And even right now, I know young artists at this particular time in COVID, they have that drive to carry through. They just need to hear it. So what is it what was it for you, both of you guys, if you can answer that really made you get over that fear of uncertainty?
Well, it is a scary thing to I didn't plan to be a singer. I just wanted to play didgeridoo with a few beats and make shows out of that, And then because I always sung when I was drinking and things like that, so the wife ended up encouraging me to do that. But when I first got my invitation to go to America to a festival over there, and that was to perform Noongar culture, Aboriginal culture over there. And we thought we'll go over early and we'll shoot over to New York and check out New York, because you can't go to America and not see New York. On the last night, and this is when I just started recording my album, my first album, Strong. And I said to my wife on our last night, I said, "Oh, we need to go and see a Broadway show. You can't come here and not see a Broadway show." So we went to Radio City Music Hall, and I saw a show from Cirque du Soleil. And it was, it was a couple of $100 a ticket each, American, for us to go. And we were sitting right up the back. And this place was packed. There was thousands of people in there. And they had this amazing stage that I've never seen before. It was just like smoke and mirrors and costumes. And they were singing in some sort of language that I didn't even know about. And I didn't even know what the storyline of the show was. But I loved it, And when I was walking back to the hotel, I said to my wife, I said, "That's what I'm going to do with my album. That's how I'm going to do my album launch." And she said, "Well, go on then." And that's all I need to hear. So when we got back to Australia, I started recording songs that make sense in a storyline of telling our stories from Noongar country, and then having the costumes made and having a lighting designer and the backdrops, and create my own sort of Cirque du Soleil, so to speak, but Noongar Olay or something.
Hey!
That's a great title, man.
That's when you get taco and kangaroo meat in it, Noongar Olay.
You just gave someone in Australia a business idea, man.
Right.
One of the restaurants in Cairns, and because they serve kangaroo for breakfast over here, so I'm like, they're gonna do kangaroo tacos now.
And we won't have Uber drivers drop it off. We'll have Uber drivers. We'll drop it over there and over this way.
Over this way.
Over.
They can hop along too, like
over there.
Over.
That's great. Thank you, brother, for sharing that answer. And I think it's just that one, the validation of having the support, because when you're starting out, and if you're just an independent, it's hard to get that support and that validation. I mean, you have to.
Something else that you said too, bro, is when you was talking and you mentioned the word business, and that's what I notice a lot of our artists don't understand, is that you got to know the difference between show time and show business. You make sure show business is in place first, and you get what you deserve before you go and do the show. So make sure that you value yourself. Uncle Mark Bin Barker, Dr. Mark Bin Barker up in Broome, he has been a strong mentor to me, and that's one thing that he drew it into my head in my early years, is to make sure that you value yourself and you value your product properly. And if people aren't going to pay you what you think you're worth, then they're not worth the show.
Absolutely. I agree with that, man. In the beginning, there was a lot of, I love, when people are supporting when you're coming out, but then it becomes this ingrained ideology that because you're trying to build your brand, they can ask you to do it for free,
That's great exposure.
To a point, and then there is one part where you have to be able to pay the bills with what you do, and you have to be able to grow.
You know what I say to them when they say, "Oh, if you do this show, it'll be great exposure." I said, "I tried to pay my mortgage by exposing myself. I went to jail."
But it's true though. It's true. And, a profound thing happened when I learned the word no. I turned down a lot of performances, and automatically my value extended. It was a profound thing, and it's like then you started to pick and choose. I don't know if you guys had that experience, and you want to share any of your experience that happened.
JPoint.
Oh,
I'm doing all the talking here, bro.
Yay! Definitely self-worth is paramount. Like walking into a space, and I know when you're younger or when you're starting off in your career and things, if you get a million free opportunities, that's a given. But once you find that place where you're like, me as a performer, this means something. Like this has got value to it. I'm bringing people, and there's people who want to see, and that was a lesson to learn. It took a while to learn that, but now it's like, contracts come up or auditions, and I'll talk to my agent, and he'll go, it's not even worth you stepping on set for this. They want to give you this, and
Yeah.
so, and I'm like, yeah, well, that's what it is, and don't ever undervalue yourself, but not to say that you can't perform for people if you think there is something else that, especially like, with the mob or giving back, or really, you gotta pick them. But when there's people out there who are like living in mansions, and I know people who are working, doing stuff, and they lose great workers because then people don't want to pay them, don't want to give them what they're due, and they think they can. There's this mentality they think they can get away with just because they're giving a black fellow like a little bit of dollars, which looks, a G might look good, but then what they're actually, business ways, they're like they're getting 50,000 from the show, and you're getting $1,000, but everyone's coming to see you. Yeah, that's
You gotta look at each gig by gig, I say. But have your value on there and stay humble no matter what. There's Glenn Fry from the Eagles, who passed away. Lead singer. I sat with him for an hour after his concert over in Perth, and he just explained to me all about the show business, and he's the one who drilled that into my head, of that show business side of things, and to protect your product as well, and something that a few other people mentioned to me about valuing yourself as an artist, especially with us three. If you're a cover band, fair enough, you can go and do whatever you want, because there's thousands of cover bands out there. But when you're a unique artist and you are telling your experience and history and your bloodline, so to speak, which us three do, in our industry, that's something that no one else can give.
Yes.
And once you know that no one else can tell JPoint's story but JPoint. No one can't tell maupower's story but maupower. No one can't tell my story but myself. And that's what we value. And that's what a lot of other artists need to start understanding is to value yourself, because you are one and you are unique, and your story is your story.
Absolutely. There's two great points that you mentioned in there I would like to really highlight and stress on. One is understanding what value is. Only two. Understanding what value is, because that's what it is. But the value equates to not only how valuable are, but the value of what you give. I mean, we give a lot to our performances in that, and that's, I believe, a real. It's a philosophy that I like to live by. In order to get and receive, have to give that empowerment. That's what we're doing here, giving the knowledge, giving that insight. I mean, there's so much experience in life just sitting here between us three, and sharing that and giving that, so somebody can have listen to that, especially the young ones, man, coming up, because I see it all the time, not only in the creative arts, like I said, but in business. I got a shout out to Paul here, Preston. He says he's put a note there. We take every opportunity, then doors open, but you got to walk through those doors with no fear. And we learn from our mistakes along the way and become better. Then more opportunities happen and goes on. 10% show, 90% business. We need to teach our people about foundations. Thanks, brother, for dropping that. And please, anybody else who's in there, drop the line, because you're hearing some gems here from these two brothers, and a wealth of experience and knowledge. Now,
something that you said there, bro, is something that JPoint touched on earlier, and it's about giving. You know, when we give, that's us as Aboriginal, as Indigenous people.
Yes.
That's part of who we are. We give all the time, but when, like JPoint was saying earlier, and you're chasing your dreams and you're pushing, and Paul there, thanks for the message, because that's 100% true. You got to walk through the doors. If when I want to create something, or if I want to do something, if I want to travel overseas or whatever, and I'll come back from somewhere and I'm like, oh, I really want to go to this place. I really want to go to Paris and put a show on. Then I'll put it out and I'd give it out to the ancestors.
Yeah.
Blessed.
And then I'd leave it, and I wouldn't even. I'll stop thinking about it. And then a week after I did that, I got a phone call to go to Paris and do a recording. And that's something that I've learned from the upbringing. What I was saying earlier before JPoint came on, I was saying, you know, I was privileged enough to grow up with a lot of pops and uncles and walked on country. They taught me that way, you know, and to put it out into the universe, and our Creator will make it happen.
Absolutely.
I do that as well, and I'm a believer in that universal, you know, energy, and you know, our ancestors will watch out. I do that before every time I step on stage. There's this moment in time that I put myself in a particular state, and I reach out to the ancestors and say, "Come perform with me one more time." And if this be my last performance, maybe a sweet victory. And they walk with me every time I touch the stage. Brother Jay, you have that experience as well.
Yeah, that like my grandfather, he taught me a lot of lessons, and there's still a lot of things that I can still hear him saying, because he'd say it over and over and over. Then he'd end it with, you know, one day you're not going to hear me. I'm not going to be here to say it anymore, but you're going to remember me saying it. And he used to say this thing about, but this was just in life, but I've carried it with me. When you go to do something, the man next to you, the amount of work he's doing, you do double and then double that. So they have no reason to think that you're just there just because you got a hand out, or you're just there just to show up and that's that. You go there and you do that much amount of work. You always bring that, like always. And it stuck with me, and it was just like, when I hit the stage now, I hit it like a beast. Like, it's always like, I'm making sure every time, be it one person or 100 people or 100,000, the performance stays the same, because, you know, the gifts that were given to me from my grandfather, he's not here anymore, and I miss him, but I thank him so much for giving me these pearls of wisdom, you know, and also the ability to walk with his name and his blood and his strength is there. It's represented every time I'm on the stage. It's there every time I write a lyric. It's there every time I write a script, when I film, when I'm sharing, you know, personal space with someone. That's the only way I move now. It's 110% or nothing. Absolutely.
Yes.
But just going back to that, before, when you spoke about ownership for me has become, that was the starting place. Like, I had to really sit down and go, you know, do I really want this? And then I asked myself again, and then I asked again, and then I asked again. Then I had to look at everything, and I had to say to myself, you know, you got to take ownership, and there's things that has to change. And then I asked myself again, are you sure this is really what you want? Because you're going to lose, you know, people that you might have partied up with. You're not partying anymore, so this doesn't mean you lose them, because you never lose real ones, but because your priorities change and you're walking, you know, it comes with that. But that's growth as an artist. That's growth as a man, as a woman, as a human being, as a, you know, as a being, you know, making hard decisions. It's funny, like making the decisions back then, and it was a hard decision, but it was the right decision for me.
Yes.
Now it's like, it's back then it was hard to make. Now it's just like, it's nothing.
It becomes a way of life. It's just you embody it, right? Like, and that's I think the biggest thing. What most people realize, we work harder on ourselves than we do at our craft, because we are representation and vessels that transmute that, and that growth and change. For making the decisions, people look at it as sacrifices, but it's just changing the dynamic of how you show up in the world. I mean, there's nothing really sacrificing about not wanting to drink anymore, or not wanting to party up, but wanting something, pursuing your dream and your passion. It shouldn't be a sacrifice. It's just making a choice that will fulfill an internal drive or internal passion.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. You both touched on it. Is that it's I can't remember the last time I got drunk. I got a fridge full of alcohol, and I shouldn't have said that right now because we're live and all the brothers might come on. But the fridge has been, not the whole fridge. I'm not talking like that. But there's been there's been drinks in my fridge for months. That I'll on the way home from one day or something, I'll buy a 6-pack, I put it in the fridge. Then I sit on the couch and fall asleep before I even have one, and it sits there for a while. But it's that people they think that we got given this lifestyle, or we got given I hear this a lot, that we got given this gig, we got given that gig, but they don't realize what we do behind the scenes, to make it happen. Once I don't like to say that I'm successful, but I'm well off as a artist, and I got no other income but this. This is all I do. So if I don't sing songs and perform, I don't get paid. I don't pay the mortgage. But you don't wait for a gig to come along. At this time, and we've been in COVID and stuff like this, and we created a WA tour. That we're releasing all the dates next week. So we're just touring throughout WA, and we're adapting to, I was saying before, blackfellas, we adapt to things better than anyone else in the world. So we're adapting the venues to what we need to do to make it safe and to follow the guidelines. But it's things like last night. I was up till 5:30 last night, working on this tour, working on my show. I was up at 8:30 this morning to go and pick a haze machine up, because we're going to finish off the filming of my film clip all day tomorrow morning and all afternoon. So it's not an easy life. It gets harder. Once you get that more of demand, it is harder, but I find that I don't work because it's just a passion, and sometimes it's scary, to be honest. Sometimes it's really scary that I'm getting obsessed with keep moving, and you get to the point where you don't even, a lot of artists that I know, that talk about money, this and money, that. You don't chase the money, man. You chase the dream, And
that becomes irrelevant at a point in time. That the money it's almost a symptom, a side effect.
Yeah.
Bigger and better opportunities, and not only just for yourself, but creating opportunities for others. So it just becomes
bring people and stuff, and that's one of the things that I don't, it sort of irritates me, because you want to bring people on this journey with you and other artists, and you want to share it, and first thing they say, well, how much money are you getting? And it's like, come to the show, What's your actual passion? Money or performing?
It's interesting, because I said who I was speaking to yesterday, another young brother of mine, and we were talking about money, being able to chase money, and this goes back to value. I'm like, man, if you want money, money is the easiest thing to make. You can walk down the street, you can find it, or you can get a job, or you can borrow money. But creating value, that's a different thing. And being able to show up, sometimes you don't get rewarded for you get rewarded for the value you bring, and that's what it is. The more value that you can bring, the more people you see. Yes,
people want a unique artist. They want someone that they want to see a show that they've never seen before.
Yes.
And if you chase that, money needs us. Money needs us. Because if we don't have money or want money or this and that, then it loses value. So if you chase that dream and put that show on and you're unique with what you do and you've got your niche, then people want that. And then when they want that, you know, it's that what they call it, that supply and demand, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Giving supply and demand, yeah.
Yeah.
If you use
that unique show. Yeah. That unique performance, and you can't do that if you're not searching outside the box and pushing boundaries and trying things, you know?
Yeah.
Actually trying things, yeah.
That's the thing with, you know, because money or compensation for your performance that night or whatever you've done, that comes, but the time spent developing, you know, I can say your name in the circle, and then people say yes, or can depend on them, or yes, I know there's a great show there. Yes, that developing that name, that brand,
Brand. Yes.
that's so important, and it comes with not only the stage, you know, the show on stage, but the respect that you have, like, and the yarns that you have, and your presence, and who you are as a person off the stage and on, and can we rely on you? Yes. Yes. He comes through and he knows everyone in the community. We know Uncle. But like that name, it means something. It's more than money. But that's the thing. Money will find you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But
My brothers, I'm looking at the time here, 6 minutes, 5 minutes to go. But like I said, this podcast, we do a black fellow way, bro. I called an hour, but if you guys got a few more minutes, we're gonna go over because there's a couple more questions I really want to get your input on. First of all, Phil, you don't mind if I call out your tour dates? Is that okay to those listening, or is it not released?
No, go for it, man. It goes on sale next week, so we might as well let people know where we're going.
You sure? Yeah, we can do that, man. If you want.
Sure, but just do it.
All right, we got your show starts in the 29th of August, Bunbury Entertainment Center. Am I saying that correctly? Bunbury?
No.
No?
Bunbury. Yeah.
Bunbury Entertainment Center, Moora Performing Arts Center, the Northern Senior High School Performing Arts Center on the 5th of September, 12th of September, Kalamunda. That's right, yeah? Yep. Performing Arts Center, Geraldton, Winterson Hotel on the 18th of September, and the 25th of September in Albany Entertainment Center. So that's the tour you put together. Sorry?
We still got a few more coming up, go up through the Pilbara, so...
all right, they can just follow you on your social media, and you'll be posting it up on your website.
I'm joined by the Perth Symphony Orchestra. I've got an orchestra.
This is exciting, man. Go talk about that, man, because this is going on from exactly what we're talking about creating that value and adapting and bringing a new experience. So tell me, how did this come about?
Because of COVID. Basically, you know, the orchestra, they was going on tour, and I was going on tour, and I was just meant to be finishing now, and then I got on board with the Perth Symphony Orchestra starting up a reconciliation action plan, so they got me on there, part of that group, to guide them through it, you know, and to engage to try and bring more Noongar classical musicians into an orchestra space, you know, to train our more in classical side of things. So I'm all for that, you know, because it's thinking outside the box and trying to get as many Noongar kids involved in classical music. So and then myself and the CEO of Perth Symphony were sitting down, and I started pulling this tour together, and she said, well, their tour fell down and they've still got the funding there for it and stuff. She said, why don't I see what I can do, and we'll learn your show and learn your songs and back you up. I said, hell yeah. So,
amazing. There you go. Because one of my questions was, what was the move to the pivot in this time? Like, a I go back a bit, and I've been speaking about this on a lot of interviews. Once COVID hit, the pandemic hit, the world stopped. Therefore, everybody was so focused on seeing what we had lost. And the questions kept on coming in, and we've seen all the sectors and businesses and this industry suffer globally because of it. There was a point about a week, I was sitting there in that same state of mind, and then I'm switching the thinking, the mindset to it. I'm like, hang on, wait a minute. The world is stopped. Therefore, it's a level playing field. What do we do now to pivot? And what is the new way moving forward? And that was my approach. And hence, that's how this all came about. What was funny was, interesting and funny was the fact that I had planned this 2 years ago to be able to start transitioning into more online platforms, both with podcasts and also with performances. COVID came, it just became a catalyst, and I was able to propel that quickly. Yeah. So with your experience, with having your businesses running, what did you do to pivot and adapt to that change?
I might jump in, JPoint, real quick. Just what you were saying, and I was telling you about the tour that I had booked. What I do is I don't go on a tour and then try and risk, paying people, our musicians and our dancers. So I pre-sell the shows when we go on tour. So that tour that I'm meant to be finishing now that got wiped out because of COVID, I was just shy of 100 grand that we lost because I pre-sold every show, and it was a big tour, and it was all paid for, and it was just shy of 100 grand that I lost. That hit me hard, a good week and a half, I was going downhill. And so luckily, my dad was into photography, and he's got a couple of cameras. And I did basically the same thing what you was doing, bro, because in my shows and what I do, I like to put across a lot of the mental health issues, like stopping youth suicide. We always push that across to empower our youth and to stop this suicide pandemic that's happening as well.
Yes.
So
yes.
What I did with that is I ended up grabbing Dad's cameras, and I stripped out our front lounge room, and I put up a couple of the banners and things like this, and I got the lighting, and I set up this own little TV studio in my lounge room, and a couple of cameras like that. I learned how to edit things. This is what we can do on YouTube now, is learn how to make videos and how to edit stuff. Yes. I was studying that every night, and then I was making my own shows, which is on my YouTube channel, and you'll see it's called Storyteller, where I'm talking about each one of my songs and what it actually means, like a song called Find Your Way that I did, and it's shot in Fremantle Prison over here, which is an old historical prison. But the song and the lyrics, using a prison is only the metaphor, but it's the prison in our mind, which is the hardest prison to escape in the world, is the one that we create in our mind. And myself, I suffer, over the last couple of years, I've been suffering a lot with mental illness myself, with anxiety and depression. I took on too much stuff, in the community and things like this. And I tried to spread out myself way too much, and it started affecting me and my work. And I went into this big spiral down, and fell into this depression hole, and I'm still getting my head around anxiety and stuff now and things like that, but that's what I spoke about, and that's what I did while we was on lockdown over here, when the pandemic hit, and from doing that, it was hard, because I started thinking about the wrong thing. I was thinking about bloody money, I lost this money, I lost that money, and that's where I started losing my way, and so from that, then I started putting my energy into creating and chasing that dream again. What I was talking about was being a performer and entertainer. And so I started singing a lot live on social media just for fun. And people started tuning in. And then a good friend of mine over here, country western artist Bradley Hall from up in the Pilbara there, he got on board, and me and him started singing songs back to each other, and everyone was watching on Facebook and things like that. And then we started a page called the Isolation Tour 2020, and we had people from all over Australia performing on this thing, and people tuned in every night. And we had old people singing, we had people doing karaoke, we had people singing covers, people doing originals, and it was something really special. But we entertained people, and that's what got me through our lockdown over here. You know.
Yes, deadly, brother, deadly, man. That is definitely a great story that you share, man. And you know, a lot of people listening can see that there are those moments where we all go through that. You know, like it's not always sunshine and happy days, but it's able to take the time to recenter. Today I did that, man. I went over to Fitzroy Island. I'm like, Friday I run my own stuff. I'm gonna go over and disconnect and be able to, recenter myself because the last 2 years dropping the album and promoting, from going on 140, going on 40-week tours, on the road, never been home. It gets to you over a year, like years, man. Like we're doing this for 20 years, so it gets to you, and you'll be able to, once it hits. It really isn't. It's one of those things like it comes completely like a haymaker from the left or the right. You're like, man, what is this? What is happening? Then it just hits you. And
there's a song I started to sing. It's one of the cover songs that I included in my show, and it's the "A Long Way Away from My Country," which is on the Brand New Day movie. What Uncle Ernie Dingo sings.
Okay.
That song. And I've always liked that song, and I didn't know why. But then after now, it made me realize because I was traveling the world, over and over, and I was missing out on a lot of things with my kids back home here, and being in China for 2 weeks on my own and had my own birthday there on my own and stuff like this, it's people see, he's in China and he's performing over there, but I was there alone, for 2 weeks, and I can't talk Chinese. And going to other places like that, you are alone. You're on your own. Your family's back home. It's not what you're gonna do. It's like, what aren't you gonna do to make it in this industry? And that song, because I was always chasing my dream of traveling the world and performing. I was doing that, but I was alone. But at the same time, in the lyrics of that song, it says, you can follow your dreams. But it's not what it seems, because your heart will always pull you back home.
Yeah,
and it's so true.
Very true, brother. Very true. Jay,
now I can't go anywhere.
Jay.
I just want to say those people who's been commenting and tuning in, thank you very much. And please, if you can, I have put in the Spotify playlist for PowerCast. Go in there and just listen to the music, man, because us as artists, we receive royalties from Spotify from that. And what I want to be able to do is on these platforms is build a community of empowering people. So on YouTube and on Facebook, please subscribe and follow because this is a weekly program, and we're going to bring great people on to be able to share their stories and bring value and bring some knowledge and wisdom and drop some gems. Now, the last one I want to touch on before we go, brother, is it's around what we've been talking about, and I think Phil, you touched on it, or you went into it deep actually with you sharing your story, and it's about trying to give some wisdom and some gems to some other your people who are going through this with COVID right now, who are sitting there, who are feeling that okay, there's no way, there's nothing coming, nothing following, and they can't see the direction through the storm. What would you give us as your words of wisdom to them? I ask both of you the question.
Jay, you go first.
Yeah. Well, I will say, like when this thing first hit, there's a lot of uncertainty and everyone's, it was just chaos. And yeah, like I was just like blown away by just what's going on. Airports are shutting down. They're saying the economy is going to I'm gonna swear. I don't know if we can swear.
We can.
I've been watching it all night.
Well, the economy, they're saying it's going to go to shit, and just everything, everyone was just rocked to the core. And for about the first week and a half, I was just like just like paranoid. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what to do. I was thinking, can I, how's this affecting like what I do? Is that everything shut down? I didn't know what was going on. But being home, like because I came up here for the football, for rugby league, and a few days later they shut down the airport. But it was pretty much when I went to check my flight booking, they said you can get credit because it looks like everything's shutting down. And when things open up again, you can have your flight back, or you can just go back to Sydney. And I made the decision, to stay with my family, and that was my saving grace. That really was. First and foremost, it was family. Just being able to be in a room, going through these crazy times, but together. That was the seed of hope. That love, family, and just the different ways family members would deal with it. But that would give me strength, and being there to look after my aunts and seeing the little ones run around like it's nothing, and they can't catch anything, gives you strength of, oh well, I don't have to be wrapping myself in cotton wool. But yeah, first and foremost, to get through this COVID thing, it starts with the people in your house or in your circle, the people you love. Yeah, and then from there, everything else just grows. Like after I got past that first initial part of freaking out, and then I grounded myself, and I was like, okay, you're not going to die, but you're not doing anything now. And it's like, okay, what can I do? So Mario went and bought a mic, bought a laptop, order a mic so I could just start recording a new album, which will come out this year. A new album, just birthday.
We're gonna launch it on this podcast, man. We're gonna have a live listening launch.
Live listening, 16th of November. That's when it's dropping. It's on my birthday. But yeah, it was that came first, and then other projects that I'd kind of put on hold came to the forefront, and then even my game on socials, because you're stuck in the house anyway, that all got upped. The amount of videos that I put out, even making some new ones, just everything and then even today, even over the last week, I look back at myself and the amount of time, just because of a mixture of, what you want to do, but then it feels like there's an urgency. It feels like, for me, it's like, once you unlock not a secret, but once you open something, once you develop a skill, and then you got it there, it's like, well, I can't yam and say that I can't do it anymore because now I can. And because I've been learning, like watching video essays or training videos or just doing more stuff or just writing, and I've just been like engulfed in a flame of creativity now. And that's going from that seed of, it looked like there was no hope, and then just looking to my family and then finding there was hope. And then from that, within the small space, just boom. But I think that goes hand in hand with being home too, being back in my community. And, before, you can be home but not be home. You can like, it's there, but you're not there. Or you don't see it for what it is. And I think this time around, and coming back and just knowing what I want in life, combined with seeing home but really being home, it's just really been, that's what saved me.
100%.
And yourself, Brother Phil?
Well, that's it was a blessing in disguise, being, like Jay said, you're home, but you're not home when we're busy. And I think that was, I got so creative as well when I found out that I had all this time on my hands, because we wasn't thinking about, oh, we got this one coming up, we got this show coming up, I need to book this newsos, I need to book this, or where you're forward thinking all the time. But I think COVID as an artist for ourselves was, I know it was hard because we lost gigs, but it gave myself that chance to take a step back and to go back to the values, what my old people, what I said earlier on in this interview, is that what my old people taught me about the culture was the main two things: look after your home and your family first. And this is what COVID has done for me is, I've got a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old here and my 22-year-old son, and I have gotten to know my babies a whole lot more than I ever would have if I would have kept going and touring on the road and stuff. I can see that personalities. I can rock them to sleep. I can nurse them if they hurt themselves. We can laugh. We can dance. My little girl, she's 5. She just had an operation yesterday to get a few teeth out. And it was one of the scariest moments of our lives. But to the doctors, it was just a normal procedure, and people had it done. But for us, it was fucking scary. We really, really worried, and my wife and I, we were scared. And then to see her come home and her lips are numb and things like that, and to hear her voice just come through the door, "Hello, Dad, I'm home," and things like that, and you miss out on that stuff when you're touring and you're traveling, and just to do jobs around the house and get stuff done. It's but being that creative side and then actually having to think outside the box and try and create another way of entertaining people, I thought it was challenging, but that's what we like. That's what we love to do as artists, is that we push the boundaries. We try and find another way to do things, and it is frustrating all the time. But to me, COVID has been a blessing in disguise. It's horrible what it's doing around the world, but to be home and to take care of my family and make a fire every night for them to keep them warm it makes me feel good as a father,
Yeah, my deadly brother. Thank you for sharing that. Just a shout out to Dane Legacy, Danger Legacy there. Good night, brother. Thank you for joining. If I can add to that, there, brother, after getting over that initial, there was a shock impact to what happened in the world. I got excited, just to see, because it forced one to stop, to slow down the world, so you can see exactly what you're saying, the small things that we're missing, and it also forced me to go back to my roots. I built a home studio again. I'm back at square one, but this is the most exciting part. I'm back at square one with 20 years of knowledge and experience of how to move. Though I'm building all these things it was like a whole training education to get to this point. And now we're on a level playing field. We're starting at ground zero. Everybody is starting at ground zero. Now the world goes in, if I use the terminology of, the stock markets, there's bear markets and there's bull markets, right? You go on this bull market and then pandemic hit, it's a complete bear market. Everything, it corrects itself. There's only one way everything's going to go. It's going to go up. Things will start to grow again. How do you position yourself to be able to grow with it or build what's about to come? And that was what I started, and I just got super excited about it. I'm like, you know what? I can sit here and be angry at what has happened and the things that we've lost. Or I can see what are we building and how do we set the tone moving forward. And you guys really touched that, and with what you've created, with your pivots in the tour, has really showed that that's how experienced people and great people who are really, really passionate about what they do. That's what we do. We adapt. That's part of our culture. That's part of our life.
That's one of the most exciting things, bro. Is because of COVID, our WA, we did our lockdown. We got our COVID numbers down, and our premier blocked off the borders, so no one else can come into WA at the moment, but we can travel through WA and put on shows. So what that means is that all our local artists in Western Australia has an amazing opportunity right now to get out there and put a show on and show your local people what you can do and build that following behind you, so there's nothing but local acts happening over here at the moment, and off the top of my head, and I've been searching, I'm the only one that's doing a tour at the moment here in WA coming up, so I'm going to be, really pushing that, And that's an opportunity, blessing in disguise, you know.
I think it's a great time now. I don't know what it's like over there, but I know up here in Queensland, I've seen the region being able to start focusing on supporting local. Like as soon as the restriction lifted and we started moving, I wanted to go out and just eat at local cafes and restaurants. I'm like, while even with lockdown with the Uber Eats, I'm like, I'm supporting local now, man, and encouraging people to support local as in artists as well. Like let's start building our economy and supporting each other, because that's the right way we should do this and build everything moving forward. I don't know your experiences over that side with supporting the local economy and supporting local.
Sorry, bro, you broke up a little bit.
Oh, sorry, I said, is that the same vibe you're getting over in WA, where people are looking at supporting local more now?
Oh, yeah, because there's nothing else.
That's a good reason. Wow, that was so profound, man. That was such philosophical wisdom. But I was waiting for this profound answer. I was like, yeah, because there's nothing else.
But in saying that, you still gotta have your standard, and you still gotta deliver your performance no matter what, you know.
Absolutely. And I'm getting texts of people, they love Uber Eats, man. You gotta coin that Uber Eats. My brother, you guys, we've gone over time with what I said, about another 20 minutes. So I thank you both for giving your time and having this discussion. One more thing before you go, brother, and I always do this on a platform. One more thing. If you were to give one key value of yours to somebody listening out there, which they can take as a gem to go carry with them throughout their journey, what would that be? And I'll start with you, Phil. One key value, brother.
Work ethic. Just work. If you don't put the work in your own product, go and work for someone else.
Yeah. Well, yeah, excellent, brother. Deadly. It comes back to that. Brother JPoint?
Definitely belief, like trust in your vision, your idea, your goal, whatever it is in life. Like just, when it speaks to you, like when you hear it, like just know that it's the right thing. Sometimes you'll hear, an idea or a song or a painting that you want to paint or, you want to make an album or whatever, and there'll be distortion and people will want to cloud your judgment. First and foremost, keep them out. You just listen to what's here, trust it, because it always knows what's best, and that's that. Yeah, and the sooner you know that, it'll be the better for your career.
Deadly. My two brothers, thank you very much. I got a message from brother Martin Kernbach. Thank you very much for tuning in, Martin. And I think this might be one of his key points that he took out of this and is sharing back on the side, on the feeds. Your passion fuels your inspirations. That is shining through. And I think that's a great way to really end this conversation, my brothers. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and your experiences on belief in self. I'm very inspired. I think I'm going to go turn on my mic and start recording another album. Thank you, brother Paul.
Call it over.
We got to do a song. You over there. Come over here. Hey,
I got to give a shout out to Man's Basketball. My son's team, SBL team over here. So
Deadly. Shout out there. Shout out to the team. Shout out to your son.
And the Cherry Rock as well.
Hey, thank you, brother Paul, for dropping your wisdom on this page as well. Brother Jack Niesner is a part of the crew. He's one of my team members. He's tuning in. So good night there. Thanks for dropping a line and tuning in. And to everybody, whoever you are tuning in from, stay safe. Here on PowerNation, we always like to end it with our ethos is stay inspired, stay empowered, and stay connected. Please do follow us next week. We're going to be on here again, and you can watch the replay of this. It's been live streamed but recorded on YouTube and on this Facebook page. I'm gonna chill out this like I'm adding your songs to the playlist for Powercast Spotify. So we can jam to that, but I just want to jam, and I got your music lined up, and I had the plan to play it throughout the show, but the yarn came too sweet. I'm like, no, we're gonna
talk too much.
But that's what this is about. So if you don't mind, my brothers, you can stay online here, but I wouldn't mind sharing a couple of songs. I got one lined up from you, brother Phil, and this one's Sacred Ground. I love the video clip for it, and if you don't mind, I wouldn't mind sharing this here right now. And everybody who's tuning in, you can jam to this.
Big shout out to Downside Boys, to Scotty and Benny Bajar, who's rapping on it.
Oh,
deadly. Deadly. All right, here we go. I'm going to play this here right now.
And to all the kids, because there's a whole lot of kids you'll see in this film clip who put up their hand. A shout out over here, and a big shout out to all the Noongar community and dancers, because they come out. I put the shout out saying that we're going to make this film clip in the middle of this big lake, and it was like carloads coming across this big salt lake, and it looked like Independence Day. You remember when they was running away from the aliens?
Yep.
Bro, I was shitting myself when I seen that. I was like, what the hell's going on here?
Where are we going to run to?
Black fellas come in carloads.
But it's a great video clip, and we're gonna show that right now. I really enjoyed it. So this is it here. Phil Walley-Stack with Sacred Ground featuring Downside.
Cool. I got in the toilet.
Okay. Thanks for sharing that information.
The rhythm, bump up the sound. Dance. Groove to the rhythm, bump up the sound. Dance. Shake off the ground. Groove to the rhythm, bump up the sound. Come on and dance. On sacred ground. And let this feeling take control of your body. Man got a claim, but he's chicken and break free. Try a little shit that you will get on the date. Say you know that he won't play, but he's got a fiance. She ain't Beyonce, but he ain't Jason. He wanna leave her, but the dress is always greener. Need to realize what the best feature with the she's a keeper. Sweeter than Granita, least color Bonita. Thought about what he was thinking, you would dug a little deeper. Yeah, not taking that for granted. A man with a plan, but he had to understand it. So we took her on a date so that they could get romantic. Mixing up the program with the romance and dance. Sacred ground. Shake up the ground. Move to the rhythm. Let this feeling take control of your body like there's no one around. My body on the rhythm. Feel the rhythm. You're lost in the ground. Shake off the ground. Close your eyes and just feel the beat. Now you're moving in time. Come on and dance. Shake off the ground. Move to the rhythm. Bump off the sound. Just dance. Let yourself go. Segregate the ground. We dance on below. Dance. shake off the ground, move to the rhythm, pump off the sound, just dance, let yourself go, cycle beat the ground again. Come on and dance, on sacred ground. Lift this feeling, take control of your body like there's no one around. Shake off the ground, move to the rhythm, get you lost in a rhyme. Close your eyes and just feel it. Now you're moving in time. Shake off the ground. Come down and dance on sacred ground. Lift this feeling, take control of your body like there's no one around. Shake off the ground. Get you lost in a rhyme. Close your eyes and just feel it. Now you're moving in time. Shake off the ground. Come down and dance. Come on and dance. Close your eyes and just feel the beat. Now you're moving in time. Come on and dance.
Hey, thanks for
There
that,
you
bro.
go. No worries, brother. Thank you. It's a very deadly song, bro. I really appreciate that, man. What's
No,
up,
all
bro?
good. I was gonna say, big shout out to Charlie Caruso, the female voice you can hear on there. Charlie Caruso,
Yep.
amazing singer, amazing vocalist over here in Perth, and also the guy who made that, who filmed that, is a MC over here by the name of Yazza. So big shout out to Ashton for making the film clip. Yeah.
Deadly. Yeah, shout out to you. That's a deadly video clip, bro. And I really love the energy of the youth in there. That's danger, bro. Thank you once again, my brother.
Kettle just boiled. One second. Kettle just boiled. One second.
Well, while you're doing that, brother, we're gonna play one song from brother JPoint here, bro. This one's I like this vibe, man. Stuck on Pages. Could you tell me a bit about this song?
You guys want a cup of tea?
Hey, yeah. Make me one.
My brother JPoint, Stuck on Pages,
yeah.
bro.
Stuck on Pages is a song about just like I get sick of all the time I'll write love songs, but I don't know, I can't seem to follow through, and it always, it's a sad song, Stuck on Pages. It's about a man who, he had something good, but he let it go by his own fault. He didn't take ownership for his actions, and then he paid the price. So it was good that the video has Dakota and Kathy in it, and they were other actors from Whopper who were in Sydney with Kathy, and Dakota was there as well. So our circle stays strong even after finishing Whopper. You still connect and create. So I had had the song first, but then I said, got an idea, and they were down. So I went out and shot this clip and put it together for the song. So, but yeah, it's about, you got to take some responsibility in these relationships. You can't just, So that's what that song is. It's he realizes, but it's the way he realizes he's done wrong. But by that time, it's finished now. Like, you had the chance, but you only understand when it's gone. So, Stuck on Pages, that's the song. That's what it's about. Yeah. But I wanted to on that last album, I wanted to do. I love my country. I love country music. So I wanted to. This was my country song on my hip hop album.
I don't. Well, Phil will come back. We're gonna have a yarn about the song because I know you got some experience with this stuff.
This is my country hip hop song. So yeah, definitely play.
Here it is. Stuck on Pages by brother JPoint.
Stuck on Pages.
As when
It's just another allegation of the lie to the list. Wicked, fraction words, gentle, kind, and explicit. White noise, you're distracted. They don't make sense. They're just jealous of our world, perfect world. I'll bet this is nothing. Baby, don't walk from us just because your friend said that she saw someone like me. Same features. Well, I am unique, but I'm sure there's somebody else who looks like me. It's coincidence, baby girl. That's it. But I think there is something that I should admit. My love is undying and it'll never die. You and me are forever. Look into my eyes. This is real, this is solid, this is flesh and blood. This is life, this is passion, this is real, it's love. But the seed is the planted and she feels the seed. I can see it in the eyes that she wants to leave. And now I'm stuck on pages. I'm looking at memories fading into night. If I don't hold you, I know it's goodbye. And as time goes by and our worlds collide into strong, perfect, stable life, it's all bliss and she knows I would never cheat. Cause she's my center, my heart, the air that I breathe. And I know that Rome wasn't built in a day, but it only takes one to make it crumble away. Who's that? There's a pic on your screen, and she looks like a woman. Who the hell is she? That's a prank, that's a joke. We were having a laugh. That's my mates just playing, but they've gone too far. I could tell by the sound that she was set to explode over nothing. Some silly pic sent to my phone. Yeah, this how you treat me. You play your games. Say goodbye to this romance going up in flames. Baby girl, don't leave me. This is all a mistake. If you walk now, you're sealing your fate. For real. And now I'm stuck on pages. I'm looking at memories fading into night. If I don't hold you, I know it's goodbye. Now I reach for her hand and I touch her arm. Pull her back to my side and she glances high to my soul. I feel 1,000 burns, feel the guilt manifest, feel my stomach turn, feel the love that she had slowly disappear. Warm flesh, cold stone, now it seems so clear that I've broken the vessel that held my reflection. Hear my confession. I know I'm just a fool and I should change. I know I was so wrong to bring you pain. I know we were set to tie the knot. I know you were the one, but I forgot. So sorry. I know that forever I'll regret. Decisions were made, and now it's set to be or not to be, and now we know. I'm sorry, fair maiden, I must let you go. And now I'm stuck on pages. I'm looking at memories fading into night. If I don't hold you, I know it's goodbye. And now I'm stuck on pages. I'm looking at memories fading into night. If I don't hold you, I know it's goodbye. And now.
deadly,
Nice.
brother, deadly, man. Too good, too good.
Hey, something that you said there, man, about having the students who went to Whopper with you.
Yeah.
There. That's something that I was talking about before with Nazer and Whopper, is that you do build contacts for the rest of your life. Now, our first stage production that we put on, I had a cast of 50 people, and half of them was the whole class of AB Theatre at Whopper.
Yeah.
So to involve that, and you just keep working with the ones you know, it was really good.
Well, that's good. I have these cotton bud comedies that have Ruben. You know Ruben.
Yeah.
Yorkshire? Yeah.
Yeah, I call him Ruby Tuesday.
Ruby Tuesday. Well, I'd have and the Get Wrecked film clip. It's got Bright, who was over there, but now he's in Melbourne. Everything that I do is just like, there's reoccurring, people, but just working with people who want to work. And and people who love to do it. So, like
that's where I first met you, bro. Was at Bright and Candace's house.
Yeah. So
When
that's
you were living over here,
yeah. So I was living with him, and then we did Back to Black.
Back to Black. That's right.
Yeah. And then I ended up leaving, and he left for Melbourne not long ago. So he's been in Melbourne for a while now, but yeah.
Well, Patrick, that's what we're talking about is Bright MC. Bright MC.
Yeah.
And he's married to Candace, who is one of the Marindas.
Yeah. So I figured that out the other way. I have a conversation with JPoint about that. And Jesse,
their cousin, brother, nephew, sons, nieces, uncles, auntie.
Hey, that's a proper bloodline connection there. That's how we explain it. My brother, stay on here, but I wouldn't mind having a conversation with you guys. I know we're taking everybody behind the scenes now, but I'm gonna wrap up the show. Thank you once again. Don't go anywhere. I'll just close it off here, bro, and then we can have a chat. But yeah, thank you once again for dropping your gems. I hope everybody enjoyed that. And for all those people, too good. Now, everybody out there in on the internet for this live stream, thank you for supporting PowerCast. We're here every Fridays at 7:30. Tuning in live, bringing you inspirational stories. I hope you enjoyed this episode, Belief in Self. I hope you enjoyed the conversations with Brother JPoint and Brother Phil Walley-Stack. Please do continue to support local. Tune in tomorrow night for the Nemas on NITV. And yes, once again, stay inspired, stay empowered, stay connected. Don't forget to subscribe to Facebook and YouTube because we want to build a community of empowering and inspirational people. Until next time, everybody stay safe. That's all.